Hi, it's Cranky Craig with your Cranky Craig movie review. Today I'm going to talk about a film called Friendship. Friendship is the feature film debut of filmmaker Andrew DeYoung, who wrote and directed the film. He's had a pretty successful career in television, but this is his first foray into feature film. It stars Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd. Robinson is perhaps best known for his Netflix series I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson. He's won 3 Emmys for this role. Robinson plays Craig, coincidentally, a weird, awkward, clingy neighbor to Paul Rudd, who Rudd is kind of channeling his Ron Burgundy look here with a big mustache and a lot of hair. He's a local weatherman. His character's name is Austin. So the premise is Craig keeps getting packages that belong to Austin delivered to his house. I guess there's some mix-up with the addresses, and he keeps delivering the packages back to Austin's house, not knowing who he is. Austin then invites him over for a drink, and this is how the friendship sort of begins. Of course, Austin is completely unaware that his neighbor, Craig, played by Robinson, is weird, awkward, and cringy, and becomes very needy. And he becomes sort of obsessed with Austin / Paul Rudd. And it doesn't take long for things to go sour between the two of them, and Austin breaks off the bromance, or whatever you want to call it. I would describe this film as cringe comedy, black comedy. The plot for me loses its focus. The problem with this film is it feels like a long skit, and when the friendship goes awry and it becomes more about Robinson's character, who's in his life and how it unravels, it just doesn't really work momentum-wise. Robinson's character is already so messed up at the beginning of the film, it doesn't feel like the friendship unraveling has anything to do with him messing up his life. It seems like his life would have been messed up anyway. There are some, now, that aside, there are some hysterical moments. I found myself laughing out loud in the middle of the movie theater, particularly when it comes to a couple incidents with Paul Rudd's hair. But Paul Rudd's not in the film long enough. There's too much of Robinson. And the problem is, I feel, is the film lacks any emotional resonance. Robinson is great at skit comedy, but it's just not really, he doesn't work in the long form. The script doesn't really serve him. It feels like a lot of little skits, little sections, like him doing, being a bad husband, him being a bad father, him making bad decisions at work. It's not believable that he would have such a pretty together wife as the wife in this film. I mean, what does she see in this guy? It's not credible at all. It just becomes a one-joke movie that depends too much on Robinson's deadpan cringe humor. And his series on Netflix was only 15 minutes long, and like I said, in the skit form, this personality and his acting skills probably worked really well, but here it just relies too much on his persona and not as much on story development as it should really be. As a result, there's really no empathy for the character. I don't really care about any of these people. I know this film has gotten a lot of great reviews because people love the cringe element. They love the black comedy and the awkwardness. But for me, the film lacks a beginning, middle, and end. And it's just not that involving as a result. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of really funny parts. Robinson is obviously really talented, but this story just cannot grow on his goofiness alone. And so therefore, I can't really recommend it in the long run. Good effort by everybody, but it's kind of a fail for me. Anyway, it didn't make me super cranky, but it didn't make me very happy either. Anyway, check out more of my reviews on Craig's To-Do List at our website,